Hi, welcome to Mercurius Being. I'm Amy Jensen and I'm here with your astro update for the Libra New Moon. The Libra New Moon will happen October 6th and it will be exact at 6:05 a.m. Central Time. So the chart for this lunation has a little party going on in Libra with the Moon, the Sun, Mars, and Mercury retrograde. They're in conjunct Uranus and Taurus, and they're trining the midpoint of Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. So, a little bit about Libra and its ruler, Venus. So Libra is the sign of the scales. It's actually the only sign in the zodiac that isn't alive. It's an inanimate object, the scales. And it is all simply about balance. So it's a lot about fairness in Libra, but fair meaning not only just, but fair also meaning a sense of beauty and aesthetics. So a sense of balance in all aspects. In the body, Libra rules the kidneys. It rules the production of insulin and glucagon. So it rules the levels of sweetness in the body, and Venus, the Sanskrit name for Venus is Shukra, and she is the demon goddess of allurement. So if any of you out there do have that allurement to sugar, and it's not always so great effects, you can kind of say you have an attachment with Shukra. So there's a lot about sweetness and allurement in this sign and in this, the planet Venus. But there's strongly high Libra. Venus is about bridging and balancing. It's about, it's the opposite sign of Aries. So in Aries, it's all about, as Noel would say, numero uno, you being numero uno. So I would say in Libra, it's numero uno, being reflected by or bridged with an other. So you are the other, you're balancing with the other, going back and forth. It's about making connections with Venus and Libra, and as I said, harmonizing. So at this lunation, we have the Sun in Libra, the Moon in Libra, and then Mars in Libra, and then Mercury retrograde in Libra, and I'll talk a little bit about that after the lunation. So Mars in Libra, Mars rules Aries, so it's super comfortable in Aries. In Libra, it's in its detriment, so it's not as strong. All of that fiery Mars assertive energy is kind of in the domain of balance and harmony. So it's a little, I wrote down kind of cooling its heels. Okay, so that hot, fiery principle is cooling its heels. The Sun in Libra is in its fall. So it's exalted in Aries in the spring equinox. The Sun, you know, we just hit this fall equinox, the two balance points of the year. But in the spring in Aries, the Sun is growing in the sky, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. So it's growing, it's exalted, it's a good position for the Sun to be in. In the fall, the Sun is literally dying in the fall season. So the Sun in Libra is in its fall. It's diminishing in the heavens. It's coming, you know, and preparing for the new moon, which is this winter solstice. And then we'll kind of start the whole year off again at the solstice. So there's a sense of cooling down. There's a sense of fall. So thinking of fall and the leaves coming off the trees and giving back into nature, kind of falling and returning to. So there's a little bit of a pause at this time. The heat is dying. So it's also a time of kind of reflecting on the ending of the heat and the light and the summer. And that coincides with this Mercury retrograde period as well. It's also a time for harvesting. So as everything ripens and is harvested, kind of making plans for what we're going to do next with that. So the in conjunct with Uranus, I'll just step back a little bit with that. So Uranus is also in its fall in Taurus. It's only 13 degrees in, so we still have a little ways to go in this sign. But by a little ways, I mean like another 4 years. So Uranus is the sign of innovation and upsets and getting rid of stagnation and earthquakes and lightning bolts and breakdowns and breakthroughs, right? And then in Taurus, it's very earthbound. So it's using that energy to change matter, I would say. It's bringing it down to earth. It's also giving us this time to change how we feel about what we value and our resources. Taurus is also ruled by Venus. So we have a connection between Uranus being in Taurus, that's the heart center. Taurus, Libra are both the rulers of the heart center. And so we have a chance, let's go back to that, the innovation, the breaking open, the looking at your resources and your heart, what's really connected to your heart in a different way. And then with that, all those planets in Libra coming about the heart center in another way, in a Libra fashion, about how we balance ourselves and others. Okay. The midpoint action, this will all tie together, so bear with me. The midpoint action, I did have Noel Till on my mind, so just reading about the Jupiter-Saturn midpoint, and then just the planets in aspect to that midpoint. So Saturn-Jupiter midpoint, opportunities are carefully, easy for me to say, evaluated. Success takes on long-term security. One has made it happen strategy. The Jupiter-Saturn, law and order, ambition given the go-ahead signal, patience pays off, feeling righter than right, or dogmatic. So those are just some of the things about a midpoint of Jupiter-Saturn. So add the Sun into this mix. Taking destiny into one's own hands, major changes according to plan, or, if nothing has been prepared, being gripped by the status quo and having to make the best of things. The Moon added to this, emotional conviction, hypersensitive about one's ego position. Mercury, studying one's philosophy of life, a long trip, speaking with great maturity, studying hard, asking the right questions. So Mercury's a little wide to this, but I just added it in. Mars, ambition emerges out of discontent, feeling unrewarded and making a change, not wanting to toe the line. So as I said, Mars might have that heat and that action, being a little cool down in Libra. So it's not always happy with that, but I just get this sense of like patience, patience, hold back a little bit, cool your heels, wait a little bit, and make plans. Okay, and that's where I'm going to flip into the Mercury aspect of this. So Mercury is retrograde. On the 9th of October, it will make its last inferior conjunction with the Sun for the year. So at that time, we've got the Earth, we've got Mercury, and we've got the Sun. So Mercury is really bridging, which is this action that we're doing with Libra anyway, between the Earth, which is matter, and the Sun, which is potential. So we've got these this principle of bridging, and we've got this principle of 3, okay? So 3 days before and 3 days after the 9th are times that are really ripe for going into yourself and doing this inner alchemical work of bringing light to that which is unconscious, bringing it out into the light, bringing it into your consciousness, bringing it into your awareness, and then allowing yourself to plant the seeds from that work and plan for the future. Okay, so part of this is crafting goals and visions. It's integrating opposites. It's a special time of the above and below principles. Again, you know, what's below the radar, what do we want to bring out into the light, especially after the whole Mercury retrograde period is over. So this is just part of the whole retrograde period, and it is that at this part where the actual integration takes place. The first part, that evening elongation, you know, we were going through and getting rid of all the old stuff. So all the old stuff was bubbling up, but we're getting rid of it. Now we're bringing all of that work into the light, and we're deciding, okay, what are we going to plant? Now, part of that, well, it's kind of interesting because I was thinking about the harvest, right? So we've harvested. So we're kind of literally here in the fall. But we've also harvested all of the work that we did in the initial phase of this retrograde period. This now is a good time, again, to plan, but have this plan based on perhaps what is alive in you, and maybe rearranging using the Libra principles of space and sacred space and balance. So rearranging and harmonizing, reorganizing internally what you need to do to bring harmony to yourself. So really going through your rhythms of your life, of your day, of your sleep, of your food, and seeing when you're the most productive, what speaks to you as far as, you know, I really need to just follow my intuition with this, and a natural rhythm. That's where I'm getting, like, kind of follow your inner being, follow that natural rhythm. Your personal timing, I guess, is what I'm saying. I'm kind of creating sacred space internally on the principle of your personal timing. And then creating a sacred space externally. Rededicating your space for meditation, for creativity, for rest or play, whatever honors what you are being called to bring forth at this time. So I really am kind of going back to seed and harvest, aren't I? It's like we're planting seeds, but then we are kind of harvesting and bringing forward. I think I just have apples on my mind at this time of harvesting. So all of these things we brought out, and maybe what you're going to do with them, but maybe also growing the seeds for the future. I guess that does make sense. So I will post on my website all the Mercury hours between 3 days before, the day of the conjunction, and the 3 days afterwards. So besides that, the October 9th as being a time when Mercury, the Sun conjunct, the 3 days before, the 3 days after, during each of those moments, there are many times during the day that we have a Mercury hour. So those are extra little potent times to maybe do meditation, maybe do, again, the rededication of your space, maybe do that journaling, or creating a mandala. And the mandala could be as simple as a triangle within a circle. And because this is the third retrograde period of the year, we've got the first one was in February in Aquarius, the second one was in Gemini in June, and this one is in Libra. And air signs, so you could look up air symbols and birds that might be speaking to you. And maybe looking back at the other two retrograde periods and see what was alive in you at that time, or what those periods brought forward. And let's see, I was just going to bring forward the one thing, colors. So I'm wearing a light pink today. Libra is, I always think of very pastel colors, very soft, very balancing colors. And so I did grab the pink card from Ina Segal's book, and it is Let Love In. So pink is the energy of unconditional love, opening your heart and helping to heal heart problems. It assists with releasing emotional challenges and bringing tranquility. Pink also helps with insomnia and the manifestation of dreams. Open your heart with delicate pink colors. So thinking of all that heart energy too, with Libra and Taurus ruling the heart center. And again, the Uranus there, like really shaking things up, like what really is important to you, what dreams of your heart would you like to manifest? So kind of using that time for this as well. So there's a little meditation here. Just taking in a deep breath, allowing your body to soften, focusing on letting go of any hardness or density. And closing your eyes and imagine you are holding the most beautiful pink flower. Breathe in its sweet scent, inviting its beauty and delicateness to open your heart. Then imagine pink light from the flower flowing into your heart and filling it up with unconditional love. Now think of someone you love and allow the love you feel to pour from your heart into his or hers. Savor that feeling of love and connectedness. Perhaps you say something like, "Divine love, pour your healing light into my heart, softening it, purifying it, and rejuvenating it, so that it is shiny, loving, and full of enthusiasm." All right, there you have the energies for the Libra New Moon. I hope all goes well. I hope you both harvest and plant, and I hope you have a wonderful, harmonious, and loving time. Namaste.